Hey everyone, it's Pastor Dave from St. John in Woodbury, Minnesota. Thanks for taking out today's 5 minutes of hope. It's been a couple weeks since I put one of these out, but had some extra time today, so I wanted to get one of these up. Plus, our communications person has been bugging me to get these going again. So here we are. So I do hope and pray that life has been going well for you. It's crazy that we find ourselves in October now. About 7 months into this pandemic. But again, we hope and pray that, again, you're doing okay, that life is going fine, that you're safe, that you're well, that you're blessed. But above all, as we say every time with these, my biggest hope and my biggest prayer is that you are filled with peace, with joy, and with hope because you know exactly what Jesus has done for you. So once again, I have our joke of the day. This is a joke I shared with our middle school students last night, and they didn't laugh at this, but I thought it was pretty funny. So, but they never laugh at any of my jokes. So I got a joke about a guy in a movie theater, and then also have some devotional thoughts on just looking at our lives, especially during these times, and looking at what it means to have eternal life. So first, our joke. So there was a man at a movie theater, and he was laying down across 5 chairs, and someone complained about it. So the usher came and told the gentleman, well, sir, you can only have 1 chair, so we're going to ask you to sit up and just have one. You can't be laying down in a row. And the guy just looked at the usher and just groaned at him. And again, the usher said, sir, I'm going to ask you again, please sit up and only take 1 chair. And again, the man looked at him, just groaned at him, didn't even say a word. And then the usher said, sir, if you're not going to move, I'm going to have to go get my manager. And again, the man didn't move, just looked at him, just groaned at him. And so the usher went, got his manager, brought him back. Manager said the same thing. He said, sir, you can only have 1 seat. You can't be laying down across 5 seats like that. But again, the man did the same thing, just looked at the manager and just groaned at him. Again, just didn't say a word. And so finally the manager said, sir, if you're not going to listen, we're going to have to call the cops. And so they did. They called police. The police officer shows up. Police officer says the same thing as the other 2 had said. He said, sir, you can't be laying across these 5 seats. I'm going to ask you to just be in 1 seat. And again, the man just looks at him and just groans. Again, doesn't say a word. And the police officer says, sir, can I ask you, where are you from? And the man looks at him, groans at him, but then finally says a couple words. He says, the balcony. I thought that was funny. So again, you may not have, but I thought that was a funny joke. So hopefully you enjoyed it. So there you go. Your joke of the day, the typical Pastor Dave cheesy joke that at very minimum, hopefully you smiled loudly at that one. So anyway, like I said, our devotional thoughts for today are about eternal life. And I want to share with us, again, I do this a lot because these are some of the devotions I read basically every day from Henry Nouwen. I love him. He's no longer alive, but he wrote a lot of books. He was a priest, again, like I said, an author, great author of just devotional and meditative thoughts. And I want to share this with us today. This is one that came out, was in my inbox yesterday. Again, it's about eternal life, but I think it's very poignant for us to look at eternal life from the perspective that he's talking about here. So he writes, eternal life, where is it? When is it? For a long time, I have thought about eternal life as life after all my birthdays have run out. For most of my years, I've spoken about the eternal life as the, quote, afterlife, or, quote, life after death. But the older I become, the less interest my afterlife holds for me. Worrying not only about tomorrow, next year, and the next decade, but even about the next life, seems a false preoccupation. Wondering how things will be for me after I die seems, for the most part, a distraction. When my clear goal is eternal life, that life must be reachable right now where I am, because eternal life is life in and with God, and God is where I am here and now. The great mystery of the spiritual life, the life in God, is that we don't have to wait for it as something that will happen later. Jesus says, dwell in me as I dwell in you. It is this divine indwelling that is eternal life. It is the active presence of God at the center of my living, the movement of God's Spirit within us that gives us eternal life. And we talk about this in the Lutheran Church, that the second we are connected with Christ through the gift of baptism, through His Word, through His sacraments, we were given new life. We're given eternal life. And so, again, hopefully maybe that hits you in a new way, that when you look at your life, you say, I have eternal life right now because I am in God's presence right now. I am redeemed and forgiven right now. I have life everlasting right now. Now, obviously, one day when we get to dwell with Christ in paradise, in His presence, we'll experience that eternal life in a new way, again, that perfect way. But even as we, live each day in the midst of a pandemic, hopefully it gives us more hope, more confidence, more peace, when we can say, even right now, with all that's going on, in this moment I have eternal life, and tomorrow I have eternal life, and the next day I have eternal life, and one day I'll experience that eternal life perfectly again when I get to dwell in the presence of Christ. So may God bless you today. Rejoice in the eternal life that you have because of the life that Christ has won for you. And again, allow that eternal life to give you peace and joy and contentment and hope, even right now, even on this day, even in 2020.